lead UX designer based in Maryland. I work for a technology agency. They are based in Baltimore, Maryland. And I've been with GDI for quite some time now. I originally was teaching for about before I took on a more leadership role to not only continue teaching, but helping to recruit other instructors and just partner with them to create insightful material for the participants and the anyone interested in learning about UX. As far as my passion of UX, I traditionally come from a product and project management background, but I've always worked with designers. I've always respected their work. I've always really enjoyed learning from them. And I just decided to switch over about 2 or 3 years ago. Um, so I have been in love with UX from the beginning. I think it's very powerful to be able to understand the business needs as well as the customer and user needs and kind of combine that. And that's how I always visualize myself as a UX designer is on merging the two and creating that ultimate experience for whatever the product is. But what were your other questions? I don't know if I covered everything.
Yeah, no, that's great. And well, so you and I were chatting and like 6 months ago, and you were starting to kind of push us to think bigger about one class, but a series. So walk us through some of your vision that you had that sort of kind of framed out what we were thinking about doing for the summer.
Yeah, so GDI has taught a couple of courses over the years of UX, um, just random times of the year, anything to do with intro to UX or user research, UX and strategy. If you've taken those recent courses earlier in the year, and I just felt passionate about kind of merging all of those courses and creating a curriculum that very beneficial for anyone interested in learning UX, whether you're entry level designer already, whether you're completely new to the field, whether you're already working with designers and want to speak their language. So it can benefit a lot of different types of audience members when it comes to the field of UX and design. So just talking to Katie, I noticed a trend that other different career paths such as data science, we're doing cohorts for GDI, having a collection of courses in a single like short time frame and just having that rich experience of participants and users to kind of dive into that subject. So I thought, why not? I think this is a really great time to have that on the UX side where we can really dive into not only covering the basics and introduction, but actually getting that real world experience, actually going out and talking to research, actually going out and prototyping some type of solution for those users, and then presenting it to their colleagues through this cohort. So really, it was an opportunity to put everyone's heads together to figure out how can we bring a new experience to GDI. How can we take all of our experience from those previous UX courses, take all our learnings and feedback from the students, and really give them something new to look forward to and hopefully launch pretty soon.
Cool. Do you want to walk us through some of like the schedule, or do you want me to pull it up and put it up on the screen? What would be helpful? The best way to kind of maybe show folks what you're thinking about the classes.
Yeah. Sorry, which schedule? The one I sent you earlier today or something else?
Yeah, maybe the one today that kind of has like the kind of class by class.
Yeah. So what I can do is I can describe visualizing first, and if anyone wants to have a more visual view, we are happy to provide that on the screen. So what we're looking to do is start at the beginning of June, so in less than 4 weeks to get started, and then in approximately mid-July. So the course will last between approximately 5 to 6 weeks. Um, so to just give you an example, I'm going to go over and read each course. And then if anyone has any questions, feel free to come off of mute or place your questions in the chat, and I'll be sure to attend to them. So the first week will be Introduction to User Experience. So maybe perhaps you've already taken this course before, or maybe you're brand new to GDI and haven't taken this course. If that's the case, I highly recommend you to take this course. It really dives into all of the introductions and the information as far as at a high level overview what UX is. Not only does it talk about defining UX, but goes into the UX process, all of the artifacts and deliverables, and then even information pertaining to a career in UX. So looking at a closer different types of UX roles and responsibilities, opportunities for continuing education for UX, and then additional UX and design resources help you get started. Then from there, I'm going to go into user research. So user research is going to be broken out into two parts. The first part is going to be user research 101, where we go over the theory and background of user research, what it means to be a researcher and go out into the field and actually ask those important questions to gain feedback from customers and users. Part two of that course, you will then go into out into the field and actually talk to users, whether you're doing interviews or surveys or focus groups. I'm familiar with those terms that would be discussed in the part one. But you're essentially taking all of that background information and that introduction and actually applying it and practicing it yourself. Then we're going to move on to low fidelity wireframes. We're going to be using a really cool and popular product called Figma, where you'll be able to learn all of the basic information of how to act and then start practicing yourself by creating a low fidelity wireframe. That course will also be broken into two parts. So you have a lot of hours to practice and also learn about the tool itself. The fourth part would be user testing. So once you create some low wireframe example, you're then going to continue testing and show that to a user. You're going to practice with them, making sure that you're collecting that feedback from someone outside of yourself as the designer. That will also be broken out to two parts because again, we want you to be able to learn all of the necessary information and background of user testing and then actually going out and implementing it yourself. Then we're going to go back to designing. We're going to continue to ideate and prototype with that first wireframe using, again, Figma. This course, you're going to dive more into Figma, learning more advanced information about how to utilize the tool and continue to refine your designs. Then part 6, you're going to have the opportunity to share your work. So this course is called Design, Critique, and Storytelling. So what you'll do is you're essentially present your work so far to your cohort, your colleagues, and then get productive and effective feedback. And so not only are you practicing the idea of actually presenting your work, but also that important piece of design when it comes to storytelling. So it's everything looks great when it's a very pretty and well done design. But if you don't have the ability to storytell how you actually get to this point, how you actually used your user research and all the feedback from all of that research in order to create this design, that's also very important when it comes to the next. And then last but not least, we're going to tie all of that together to host a final course for job preparation. So essentially, how do you take all of that information that you just learned, all those new skills that you just gained using a very popular tool such as Figma, and be able to showcase that to potential employers when applying in the future? So that course will just basically help you to feel confident to present your work, present your new skills, and take that next step to actually apply to a UX role. Not to say that this course is only for someone who wants to be a UX designer. Again, I think this course is a variety of audience members, such as people who already work with designers and want to be able to speak their language and communicate better with them. So I think this job prep course is beneficial for anyone who wants advice on how to prepare when it comes to interviewing, updating your resume, and updating your portfolio. So definitely wanted to point that out. And then one I also want to call out, in addition to all those courses, we're also going to be hosting office hours where you can dive into more of your work, get feedback from the instructors and the TA, and just have an open and welcoming safe space for you to kind of ask those questions and dive into a little bit more of, any type of questions, comments, concerns, feedback that you may have as we progress each week. So each week there's going to be set aside office hours for you to talk to the instructor and the TA, additional support. I think I saw a question. Okay, audio feedback. Hopefully, you all were able to hear me. I apologize if there's any feedback, sorry, audio problems, but hopefully that was helpful. I did want to pause there to see if there's any questions. I know that was very quick and brief. We will be posting all that information very soon on the website so you can kind of dig into each course and how everything aligns into a series of courses for this cohort. So definitely really encourage you all to read all of those descriptions to get excited about what's going to be offered soon. But I also want to pause there to see if there's any questions, comments, or feedback at this time.
I
I have a
one.
question. Oh,
Go ahead.
I was wondering, do the participants of the course work on projects, or is it just like what would the format look like in terms of like exercises or practice for the participants?
Great question. So because this is a pilot course, we are not at this time partnering with an organization. What we're going to be doing is providing the participants with a real world scenario where they can essentially take all of their learnings and continue to apply that and exercise that during those different steps. So for example, for the first user research course, not only will you be provided with the information and background of user research, but then you're going to be that scenario to set you up for success for the weeks to come. So whatever the scenario is, you're going to take that and actually apply that when you're talking to users, creating your wireframe and prototype, and continuing to test that to create a new solution at the end of the course. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome. Was there another question? I don't know if I heard something else in the background.
Yes, I did. I had a question. First off, this is great. I'm really excited. But my question is more about, I know you all have like several
Has
series.
anyone, I know Katie mentioned that maybe some of you have already taken courses before at GDI. Just wanted to get like a pulse check to see, have you all taken UX courses before with GDI or perhaps at another organization that you want to share about, like just your thoughts and feedback for that? Because we're always looking for information to help us prepare for the courses that we're going to be teaching in the future.
Hey, Olivia, I think we had another question for you too. I don't know if anyone else can answer. Did you want to go ahead, Kenyatta?
Type it in the chat just in case. Yeah, just wanted to know about the scheduling, if this would overlap with any of the other series or offerings going on this summer.
I don't know if it's just me. I don't hear anything.
Oh, okay. I'll type it in the chat.
Yeah, I can hear you. We're just talking about timing, I think, like with this overlap any of the other cohorts. I could take that one. We are doing another big front end course similar to this project. And those are going to be pretty much the two that we're going to focus on this summer. Just kind of, I know the summer's harder. People are all over the place. So we figured we'd have two focus areas. And I don't know all the timing, but we are going to try to do our best to see if we can't alternate. We have the UX, Lyria has some good times and dates, so we can kind of work around that for front end.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my audio today. I'm so sorry I didn't catch your question. But thanks, Katie, for that feedback.
Cool. Well, any other questions?
Follow on that. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, just to quickly follow on that, I know Katie and myself have talked about in the future merging front end and UX to make it a more collective opportunity for you all. So I'm very excited for that. I will say it is distinctions between being a UX designer and a front-end engineer or developer, for example, but there's also a lot of benefits to be able to not only communicate with developers and engineers, but also learn the basics of programming as well as a designer. Works in the future. If not the end of this year, then maybe perhaps next year as we look into other opportunities to provide resources for you all.
Cool. Love that. Yeah, we're getting creative here, trying to pull it all together to kind of, you know, be able to see We have another question. Can we not hear you?
Hold on, I know why. Hold on, Maya. I'm gonna let you give you.
There
you go. You should be able to.
Are you there, Maya? There we go. Be able to come off mute now and ask us a question. Okay.
Or you can ask it in the chat too.
Yeah, Maya. But go ahead, write it in the chat. We'll wait for you to go ahead and write that in so we can make sure we get your questions answered. No, we did not cover the tuition and application process. So this is, this course, I think we're going to list it at $480. Some folks who are our members, that will be included in the membership. And then if anyone's requesting or needs a scholarship, you can always apply for a scholarship on our site. And then I think, Laureate, remind me what we landed on this. I think it's really open to anyone, no matter what your skill or background is in UX. We're not looking for any prerequisites. This course will start from, jump and work all the way through. So there really is an application process. I think we will eventually limit it to a certain number so it's not overwhelming and everyone can have attention. So we probably would encourage folks to sign up early. So I think it will be popular, but definitely feel free to sign up no matter where you're at in your learning.
Yeah, that's correct. There's no, there's not necessarily an application. We're not going to turn anyone away. The only thing I will say from a technology requirement standpoint is you will need a desktop or a laptop of some sort. It could be Windows, Linux, Chrome, Mac, etc. As long as you have some type of laptop so you can access the tools such as Figma, that's the only requirement. But all that information, of course, will be posted once we officially make the cohort live. We'll be sure to include things like the cost, technology requirements, great descriptions of each course of what to expect, and of course, the actual timeline, like the dates and times as well.
Yeah, no, Maya, we talked about this. Yeah, you definitely can take the front end and the UX course. We think we should be able to work it out with timing. We'll do our best. I think the other thing, and just Laureate, the one question I just wanted you to answer would be if somebody, the summer's busy, people get crazy. If somebody misses a course, I'm always telling folks they should sign up. We'll send you the recording if you missed one of the to freak out about it. And then I think what's really nice is you built in some of the office hours. So if somebody did miss or they watched the recording but still had a question, they can catch up with the teaching team on the office hours. But I don't know if you wanted to answer that too.
Yeah, I will say, obviously this summer is going to be different. Everyone's going to go out and hopefully be safe and enjoy the summertime. And we will have the recordings available. But I would say to just once the cohort is posted, take a look at the schedule, make sure that it's something that's going to fit into your schedule. And if it does, I definitely recommend to sign up if it's something that you're interested in doing. And the recordings will be available. But because there's only technically 7 courses, if you think that you're going to miss, more than one, maybe check in with us to see if it's a good idea. And again, this is just a pilot one, so we're going to be continuing to release this out as we continue to refine it and get feedback from our cohort participants. But yeah, that's my advice, is to just make sure it fits into your schedule. We try to have schedules that align with people from different time zones, so it's hopefully not conflicting with your work. It's after work hours, and they're not long. Each course is no more than 2 hours, so you're not going to have to sit on a computer for 8 hours a day to learn the material. We're going to keep them short, up to 2 hours, and very frequently, so you're learning the material and can go on to the next week fully prepared after the material in the office hours.
Awesome stuff. I'm so excited. Anything else question wise?
Yeah, I have another question. In terms of coursework, or just like how much time should the participants put aside for coursework weekly?
Yes, great question. And that information will also be included. I will say we're going to give recommendations based off of the individual courses. Not every course is going to be the same. So, for example, the introduction to UX, there's no coursework needed. You're just showing up and learning the introduction. For the introduction of user research, again, there's no work needed. You're just showing up and learning the introduction. Once you get into actually going out into the, when I say field, I mean you actually, it could be using it in your computer and talking to users through Zoom or whatever the case may be. But once you actually start going through those exercises, that's when you're going to actually have to do your homework and go outside of class time to complete those assignments. So for example, if we're asking you to interview with 5 users and do each interview for 30 minutes each, you're going to have that time set aside to interview those users and actually synthesize and read through the results of your user interviews to bring back to class. So we'll be sure to provide that information. I just wanted to clarify that it's going to vary per course, but we're going to provide that information for you both beforehand, before the course starts, and then just constant reminders as we progress.
All right, thank you. And just lastly, when will that information, or when will the cohort information be posted? Or?
I will, hopefully in my opinion, I think it will be posted by the end of this week. I'll double if Katie has a different date in mind, but I think 99% done with all of the information we need to provide with you all to make sure that we're covering all of your questions and being proactive about that. So you can expect that to be posted, and if you are a member, you'll receive an alert or notification about that as well.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Any other questions that I can, myself or Kitty can provide or answer?
Right, well, this was so helpful, Laria. I know you got to go, you've got a hard stop, but I wanted, it's really helpful because this is so different and unique. So thank you so much for answering the Q&A, and I really appreciate your time, and everyone for jumping in, and love to hear some feedback. Feel free to email me. I'll drop my email in the chat if you need any information.
Great. Well, thank you all. Yes, definitely feel free to send an email if you have any questions, and hopefully I'll see some of you all. But enjoy the rest of your day.
Cool. Thank you. Bye.